Hey guys, this is Builder, and this is a video of my game with me and Awesome versus Lord Gracchus and King David. And today I have a special co-host with me, Awesome.
Hey guys, it's awesome.
So I moved my settler down to start the game. I'll be going down to the 2 hill spot below me. I'll be able to get 3 wheat resources, or 3 granary resources, and get some very nice growth and production.
My start, I basically started on plains. You don't always have to start on a hill, as some people say. I was by 2 granary resources. It was a very powerful start for an early rush to get your capital up big to be able to produce hammers. I didn't want to move too far from my luxuries or my iron, so that's why I picked not planning on the hill right there.
And I was kind of getting into a debate with my start whether I should go to the bottom left hill or the bottom right hill. With the bottom left, I'd be able to get an extra forest to chop, and I'd be able to get to the furs more quickly. And on the right side, I'll be able to get access to all 3 granary resources more quickly and the ivory. And I almost don't move at the end of my turn there, move my settler. But I just managed to do it before the turn timer runs out.
I think we drafted Civs. In this case, we banned 4 Civs, picked 4. Russia was picked first, then the Aztecs Rome. Then I think Greece was picked to try and counter our early push that they figured was going to be coming.
So with Rome and Aztec, we'll be able to gift the Aztec warriors to Rome, and then the Roman player will be able to upgrade them into legions. So we'll be able to get the Roman legion with the bonuses from the Jaguar. The other civs, Greece and Russia. Russia will be able to have lots of strategic resources. They'll be able to have double iron and double horses, so build a lot of units. And Greece will have has the nice companion cavalry, which is the very strong horseman replacement.
We don't go for the Great Library here, I don't think. But if you notice, this is why this is up top. The Jaguar is moving toward the other team. If you notice on the edge of the map on the left-hand side or the west-hand side, there's a dark area where you cannot move. So basically, you know your opponent's to the right. You move to the right to scout out for natural resources or natural wonders, excuse me, and he finds one here that I plant my second city at.
About going Great Library, we didn't go Great Library because Great Library takes up a lot of hammers, and so it makes it a little bit tougher to rush early. I wouldn't be able to focus in a lot of hammers on Jaguars, so by the time, if I had built Great Library, then I would have had to build it and then build Jaguars, and it would have just taken a while longer to send units at them. It looks like the other team has sending a couple of warriors at Awesome's capital, so I'm coming down to kind of help him a little bit.
If you notice, my warrior is parked on the bottom left-hand tile. So when my settler or worker pops out, whichever I choose, which is I believe a settler this time, which I usually start the settler start, liberty start with most civs in a multiplayer game, it's protected from that warrior, or those 2 warriors, excuse me.
Which is a very good thing to do. I opt for a free worker, but I won't be getting that quite yet. For our tech path, we go pottery, animal husbandry, and then iron, all the way up to iron. We do that because the pottery gives you the very strong capital. It gives you the extra growth on all the wheats and deers. And then we go animal husbandry to get the horse nearby the capital, which allows you to get more hammers in your capital and improve a hammer resource instead of just building farms. Then we go up to iron so we can build lots of military. And so I take my free settler right here because I kind of like my capital spot. A lot of times when I have a strong capital, I take a free worker, so that I can grow the city without going into unhappiness. But when there's a great natural wonder nearby, like Old Faithful, or like maybe the Fountain of Youth, or even like a mining luxury, which you can have access to much earlier than the other luxuries, I will oftentimes go for a free settler.
It's excellent here. They park a city, if you notice, to the southeast of Rome, if you noticed on the few screenshots that passed by it. So it's working to our advantage right here that they're going to either maybe go Great Library to companion cavalry and hopefully defend the city and make it slow down our attack, or they just planted a city for us to take over with ease. Because if you plant that close to Rome, you're bound to have a few legions come at you.
Yep. You can see the outline of the city in the mini map on the bottom right side of the screen. It's the yellow color for Russia. So anyway, I was bringing my Jaguar back to kind of protect Awesome again, and also to give it to him so he will be able to upgrade that unit into a legion. As for my workers, I'm just building up a couple of farms because there's not... I could be mining that hill also, but I'm just building farms so I can get growth while I can. Because once I start building other cities, I'll go into unhappiness.
I'm just working as hard as I can with the warriors that are around me. I believe they brought them back to get iron upgrades just now. I didn't see them on the screen again, but I want to make sure that I didn't lose my worker. Rule 101 is to protect your workers and sellers.
Definitely. And I'm getting in a barracks in before we get before I start spamming a couple of Jaguars, so that I will be able to give the upgrade to all the Legion units. All the Jaguar units I gift to Awesome. The Jaguar has the faster moves through forest. It heals 2 hit points when it kills a unit, and it has a combat bonus in jungle, but there's not that much jungle on this map, so that won't really come into play that much. Another thing I did is I started mining a hill nearby me, an empty hill nearby my capital, just before we got iron, where I was pretty sure the iron was going to be. If I were playing a little bit better, maybe I would have mined the hill a little bit earlier, because if you look around, the iron has to be in a hill within 2 tiles of your capital spot, and that was the only hill between 2 tiles of my capital besides the hill I actually settled on. Anyway, so now I'll start spamming out Jaguars. I'm sending my settler out to take the spot on the sugar. I'll settle on the sugar so I can get some more gold. And so that it will be
immediate. Just now...
What was that?
If you notice just now, Builder, you sent some resources to us. One of the key parts of multiplayer of the multiplayer experience is that you can trade resources, gold, and other things. So basically, he sent me iron to be able to build up my army quickly, and before I even got to mine my iron. And plus, with that, if they kept those warriors there, a trade for iron from Builder to me would have been imperative.
Certainly. It's a big part of teamers to be able to give the resources to the player who needs them most. So, Awesome has started building some legions, and I will start gifting him some Jaguars. And if we looked at army numbers, I need to be pulling up demographics more often. If we look at their army numbers, they aren't very high. If you look...
I think you do a great job, Builder. But I think I planted my 3rd city right here on Kume. I planted it nearby Furs. I didn't plant it on a hill. It didn't get as much production as I really wanted it to. But it was by stone, furs, cow, and I think some horses down there too. So it was a nice long-term city. I try and plan my cities out for the long term and hopefully win in the short term.
Sounds good. Personally, I try to have at least one empty hill nearby my new cities when I settle them, just so I can get hammers. Unless I'm going to be in happiness the whole time.
Oh, agreed. There's one hill there, but could there have been more production in that city? Possibly.
Well, there's a hill, but I believe it's a forested hill, so it only gives 1 food and 1 hammer instead of
yes.
2. But you're happy right now, so because you have a mining luxury and you got Old Faithful, so it's not quite as bad as if you had just been, at one population working at empty grassland, unhappy.
I remember thinking I did want to try and grow. If you notice, legions are building up. the attack's about to happen. Builder wanted me to attack a few turns earlier, but I've made mistakes before attacking with only 1 or 2, and not coming with overpowering force. And I think that waiting 1 or 2 turns was got a nice line of legions coming at the Russian city, and hopefully it turns out well for us.
So I'm about to plant my 3rd city. It'll be nearby the furs resource, which I kind of moved away when I moved my initial capital spot. Essentially, when you're settling cities, you want to claim every unique luxury on your side of the map. I guess
Plus, elephants and horses give you circuses, and you can build coliseums in those cities too. So if you have a hill, 1 or 2 hills with a horse or extra ivory, it's an extra. It might be a city spot that you might want to consider building your last city at.
Certain, and also if it's nearby a river.
Definitely nearby a river too to get the extra gold.
If you notice, most of my cities I settle are on rivers, unless I'm settling for maybe unique luxury or a natural wonder or something.
Agreed, you have that powerful watermill. And if you notice here, this was an undefended city. Notice I have a warrior down there too for upgrade and also cannon fodder. I want them to possibly damage my warrior before hitting my legions. And also to scout.
So I'm prioritizing growth a little bit. I'm building the floating gardens. Maybe at this point I should have built another settler out of my city, because currently I'm stuck at 3 cities, which isn't that much. Growth only does so much for you. You have to have a certain number of cities to get decent hammers. But anyway, the Aztec unique building, the floating gardens, is a pretty strong building. It gives you plus 15% food, and that applies to base food that your city produces rather than excess food like a lot of other bonuses do.
If you notice here, what I'm going to do is I've already conquered the city, raised it, and I'm going to put a little more pressure on the south there. And if you notice, I move my warrior all the way to the south and draw units south. And I do what's called what I call a pivot move. I pivot around. You'll see in a second here. I pivot around the Grand Base, I believe that is, and I pivot around the mountains there and start attacking another city that we possibly find in the northeast.
And another thing that Awesome is doing is that he's fortifying all of his units immediately, which the other team is not doing. You want to have, anytime a unit could be attacked by the opponent, you want to have it fortified just as quickly as possible, so that when they do attack it, if they do attack it, they'll hit a severe penalty, or you'll get a big bonus defending.
I believe it's 25% for 1 turn, 50% for 2 turns.
Yeah. I'm still building jaguars out of my capital to gift them to Silent. My gold production is pretty good because I've been settling nearby luxury resources, and I don't have very much army. I'll be improving all of my luxuries right now. I actually had 2 trapping resources, and so I think I would have rather gone for trapping early. But the Roman ballista is a very strong unit, so we went for math before we got trapping.
Now, right here, you notice I asked him to build 2 more jaguars because I believe that I was going to be attacked or counterattacked here. I didn't know the strength of the opposing force. I didn't check demographics. If you look at demographics here, they have about 50,000 troops. We have about 45,000 troops. You can take that by the average, or someone has 0 troops. I might have read that incorrectly.
I think I might have had 0 troops at that time because I just didn't have any military, because I gifted it all to you.
So if you double the number, if you take the 0 and you double the number, basically it's basic math that they would have about 50,000 troops. So I knew that they might have more troops coming, so I asked to build 2 more jaguars for me. And you'll notice how they're used in a little bit here. Notice I also build Lista to be able to take over capital cities. If they build walls in their capital, I don't know if legions are going to be able to take it right away. If you notice here, you see how I'm pivoting around that mountain pass right there because they can't really see me. Here's a good picture of that right there. And there's also Legion coming up from up top. You know, if you have a unique unit, you want to produce your unique unit as much as possible because that gives you the advantage of the game. If you notice, Rome's building legions right now, trying to get production up in Cumae with the watermill, and I do not know what I'm building in my second city.
Meanwhile, I'm starting to hook up my resources. I'll be getting happiness and I'll start growing again. I'll be getting some very nice growth from the water mills. Or not the water mills, their water mill replacement, the floating gardens. And I'm starting on the pyramids, because he doesn't need much more army, and I really like the pyramids. Because it gives you, for the cost of just a little bit more than 2 workers, you get 2 workers, and all of the rest of your workers work better.
Also, if you notice that right here, how he has a strong force to the south, I drew 2 of his swords south to attack my warrior that was cannon fodder. So basically, he has 2 more swords more southern than he would want. In this case, I try and keep him busy with the 3 legions in the bottom, move the ballista up. You'll see the Jaguars come into play in a section perfectly timed, and I move around. There's only hoplites protecting this the second city we're going to try and go for.
And taking the city puts the opponent a lot way behind. Settlers cost a lot of hammers, so if you're able to take a city, even if you then raise it and don't really get anything directly out of it, you're taking a lot away from your opponent.
That was a tough loss right there. That sword, very strong sword they had.
Yeah, the Legion probably, maybe the combat preview said the Legion should have killed the sword, and then the sword got lucky and didn't die. And so, even though Awesome has lost a couple of legions down below, he's kind of drawn the Greek and Russian forces away from the city, which they should be defending, and he'll be able to send a couple of, or several legions at the city and be able to hopefully take it.
And the 2 Jaguars there, if you know, southeast of Rome, with 1 legion being produced in 1 turn, so you have 3 legions there within a few turns, which can easily maneuver 5 or 6 possible longswords, or not longswords, regular swords. Even though they can't step longswords, I've seen it happen.
Well, you need a lot of them. The Legion is certainly a strong unit.
And definitely also the glory of. Also, we want to talk about the glory of Rome. How you get a production bonus for each building. That's a pretty general thing, but it's very powerful for expanding civilizations. And after, let's say this rush does or does not work, if it doesn't work, I'm going to start spamming cities and building up my cities almost immediately.
Yeah, 25% is a very large modifier, especially in Civ where through patches and stuff, they started toning down modifiers so that, for example, the factory used to give like a 50% bonus, and the workshop used to give like a 20% bonus, but now it only gives they both give 10% production bonuses, so that makes Rome's modifier even more important.
So we also we looked at the long term when picking the civs. We also thought about growth and production. How could we outproduce Russia? How could we outgrow Russia? Who they're going to pick, and who else they could pick afterwards. We figured that Russia was probably the strongest civ. It's one of the strongest civs on the skirmish map due to its production. So we chose these 2 civs with an excellent combo strategy. So it's perfect of both worlds, really.
I think the other team made a little bit of a mistake by not banning Rome. Rome is certainly one of the strongest civs in Civ multiplayer.
And also my favorite, so...
Yeah, I certainly enjoy Rome as well. They have 2 strong, unique units which we use a lot in multiplayer, and their unique bonus is also very strong for expanding cities.
So here they start talking about trying new ideas and how they want to have a rematch, which we might have another day. But I asked David to make sure, because you want to make sure it's a unanimous vote of concession, and after I take Carnith, we'll see what happens.
Anyway, this is a pretty short video here. We didn't want to put in a long video for doing a double recording. Anyway, we are able to take Corinth, and so they will resign from the game, and Rome and the Aztecs have emerged victorious in this short little duel.
Victorious!
Yes, quite.
Yes, it was excellent. It was excellent duel. Good games to everybody that played.
I think they might have been trying to spam hoplites, because you could see they had a lot of hoplites. Anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. Defend your cities.
Thanks, guys.